Yeah.
A success story with the spring kit.
I'm in Walmart and I was looking for the Red Ryders 2 years ago. That was right here at the beginning of this aisle here. I already have that Red Ryder, so for this year's Red Ryder version, I think I'm going to do something else. This year, I decided for my Christmas Red Ryder video, I'm going to put in a new spring. I bought this from a eBay dealer, Cobalt 327. This particular one is a kit that's already put together. You have an upgraded spring and the tube here, the hole in the tube bigger, so that's supposed to help performance. If I can get this up to 350, this would be a real success story. So I'm going to take the gun apart. Since I've got it apart, I'm going to spray the wood stock to shine it up. I'm going to install this kit and we'll do some speed tests to see if it actually made any difference. I put this windmill in the background here sort of to go with the story. I use this book here as a reference quite a bit for Daisy background. It's a Daisy by Cass Howe, who was one of the primary people involved with the president of the company when they moved from Plymouth to Rogers, Arkansas. But it tells a story about how Daisy got its name. The Daisy company started as a windmill company, Plymouth Windmill Manufacturing. Well, this was like in the 1890s, so a lot of their customers were probably former Civil War vets. As a promotional thing, they had this the basics, a barrel and a spring unit and a BB. They bring it in and shoot it and say, if you'll listen to my pitch, you'll get this. They were first making the pitch to even do it to the company president. The guy that designed it brought it in and says, here, you got to try this. So the company president shot it into the BB into his wastebasket, and he thought, man, that's too powerful. So they took it outside and they shot it at a shingle at 10 feet, and it went through the shingle. That's where they got the name Daisy, because after that company president of the windmill company shot it through the shingle, he says, that's a Daisy. And back in those days, that meant that's really cool. I've already tested this for speed in the first video I did on this. Since I'm going to be testing it afterwards, I bought this chronograph here for $49. For right now, it does work inside in meters per second. So I'm doing 10 here just so we're comparing apples to apples on the same chronograph. So doing a couple tests here before I take it apart. 80.3. 10 of these to give me a minimum sample size. Next step is let's take it outside and try the shingle test. I'll give it 5 shots to try to get it through a shingle. Approximately 10 feet back. That's what he said they did. So I'm only going to take the stock off right now so I can get a coat or two on it. And I use Daisy 880 Fanatic as a reference and Resto Mod Daisy. The first thing is you got to take the lever off. That's easy enough. This is a metal lever. So there's the back stock, the butt stock. There's the trigger. We'll get to the rest of that later. Take this thing off here for this wood stock. We'll get that ring off. And now we got the stock. The next step is to get the spring out. Well, I got it not back together, but I have the spring installed. I will show you in a second. I did not record myself doing it. You should have, because there were numerous swear words out of frustration. It was difficult for somebody who's never taken it apart before. I'll go into that in a second, but anyway, I've got it in, and I've taken 1 or 2 shots. So far, I've got a reading of meters per second in the 100s. That'll be over 300 feet per second for sure. So let's try a couple. 106.3. A lot better than it was. Try another one. 105.1. So we'll do that. Let's do a preliminary test on the shingle. Oh yeah. Let me show you. There you go. I think we penetrated. It's fairly easy to take apart until you get to taking the spring out. And if you can go to Resto Mod or Daisy Fanatic 880 Fix It. There's several other videos out on how to take this apart and put it back together. But in all of them, you'll notice that they're using a weird tool. And you can't really just buy that tool off the internet. So I went cheap initially. I was able to get it out just using a long screwdriver. It had to be a narrow one, and pressing down on the spring and then pulling this out, and that worked. But when it came time to put it back in, no can do, especially with the much stronger spring. One of the videos I've indexed on tools that they use, Shane at Resto Mod has said welding rods. Well, I went cheap again and got the aluminum ones because I figured I could use them later. They bent. Then I even tried the cleaning rod. That didn't work. I ended up bending one cleaning rod. So you have to have a tool similar to this. It has to have enough strength not to bend. I went to our local equivalent to a Menards or Lowe's and got a 3/16 feel rod, round. These are 3/16 and they work just fine. 5/8 of an inch center between the two, and it's got to be, he said 10 inches long. I went with what he said. I'm going to show you the problems an inexperienced or first time person did, so I made all the mistakes for you so you don't have to. The first mistake was trying to go on the cheap on the tool. If you're going to get it, you got to get strong enough metal, and you have to have this tool. That's the inside of it, and you'll see there's a spring there off to the upper right corner. As I kind of move it back and forth, you can see it. That spring is what you have to get the pressure on. You're looking at this inside there. This is the old spring that I took out. And see, you got that surface and that surface to press on. That's it. With this tool here is it fits down in there, and then you kind of have to press this together like that. It has a fit through these two notches here like that. Then you're pressing down, and the reason what you got to press down on, you got to move the spring back so you can move that clip there in, which holds the spring back in. Now fit it in here, got to slide it down. Now, the guys that do this all the time have it in a bench vise, which I don't have. So then you can use your weight and press down on the spring and pull this thing out. Now the spring will come up, and see, here's the little key there. Once you do that, it comes out. I get it to there. And then it's out. Now, you'll see here, this is a mistake I made. It seemed to me that you'd want to put it in this way. So that did not work. So don't do that. You got to make sure that you put it in and take note of it, which I thought I did, but apparently I didn't. It has to go with the flat side here down. Here's after about 7 coats of lacquer. Time to put it together. Here it is, the freshly lacquered Daisy Red Ryder with an upgraded performance spring package. Looks pretty sharp. So let's go downstairs and finish this off. Doing the test here. We're going to try a couple more here just so you can see that this thing's actually shooting that fast. 109.9. Boy, and these readings are pretty close together too. One more. I'm thinking that's probably going to be more closer to 360. A lot of 109s in this reading. That's 10 readings. Here are the results with the Christmas Wish Red Ryder with the upgraded Cobalt 327 spring. With the new chronograph, the average speed with the original spring was 259 feet per second. Kinetic energy was only 0.76. This year it was 288 feet per second. With the new Cobalt 327 spring upgrade kit, we had an average speed of 357. And let's go ahead and erase this. I'm glad to put in the kinetic energy is now 1.44 foot-pounds. All a success story with the spring kit. But standard deviation on both of these was about the same. This was 3.5 and that was 4. We're going to do the shingle test to see if it'll shoot through the shingle. I'm using the same shingle that I did before. There's the dent marks in it. And I will be using the Daisy Precision Mac BBs. Still in the yellow case, which I don't think has been around for a couple years. This is from 10 feet back. Four out of 5 penetrated all the way through, and the fifth one pretty much made it through. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please press the like button. And if you would, I'd appreciate it if you haven't subscribed already, to go ahead and subscribe. It would help me out with more viewers. And be sure to have yourselves a Merry Christmas.